Who's ready for another fun-filled afternoon of 3D printing build action here in the basement? How about some clapping for the start of the stream? Hopefully, I was going to adjust that. Hopefully that worked. We're going to try it again if it didn't. Hold on. One moment, please. It didn't. So, how about if we do it this time? That's much better. Nice. Extra clapping. So, my name is Chris. I will be your basement host for this afternoon, guiding you through these fun-filled 3D printing adventures, as we do so very often. Now, TK's just here for the intro music. Absolutely. That's a great reason to come. There's a ton of people in chat. I will get to talk to all of you as we go through this lovely experience. This guy is kind of interesting. Now, you might have seen this one around a little bit. This is the Lotmax SC-10 Shark. And side tip, it is still Shark Week. So, we got sharks, we got benchies. Everything is right for the world for this to happen. Now, it is somewhat of a competitor to the Ender 3. They're kind of similar. The real caveat to this guy is there is a link in the description if you want to go check this one out, just to get your lay of the land. It's somewhere around the same build dimensions, but you'll notice that link when you check it out. It is an Indiegogo campaign. So, crowdfunding, I think a lot of companies, and I'm not saying anything about Lotmax. I really don't know much about them. They have been really nice to me via emails. I don't know a lot about them. But I think a lot of companies now see that as some sort of advanced advertisement, maybe like beta testing, a way to develop without having to put up the money up front. But it also does generate a little bit of back and forth when you're waiting for this crowdfunding project to be funded. So keep that in mind. This is not something that's on the shelf right now. I don't know when that funding campaign is going to be funded, but right now I believe $270 gets you in to get one of these. Remember, that is not a done deal. Things might go bad wrong. It might go south. But it is a good indication that some of us are getting these machines already. So there is something there, right? They're not just saying, oh yeah, we're going to build it, and they don't build it. They are building printers. I mean, they've got their box with the name on it. So they're doing better than some campaigns. So to get into that campaign, it's like $270. Now, that's the base one. This thing has a couple of different iterations. So you've got the base 3D printing one. I'm pretty sure that's what this one is. Then you have a dual extrusion one that has a V hotend. You also have the auto leveling one. You can add a touch sensor. So there's a few options. And then you can go all the way up and get all of it, which I believe is $370, $380 US. And you get a laser for engraving. So keep that in mind as we build. This was sent to me by Lotmax. No money has exchanged hands. They just wanted to know if I wanted to check it out. And I said, sure, why not? So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to see if we can put it together, see how hard it is to put together. Maybe I can kill this fly. Oh, I almost got it. See if we can get it together, see how it prints, hang out, have a good time, talk about things, stuff, printing, sharks, whatever, and you know the drill. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. James from Rushmire 3D, hello, how are you? Lasers, pew pew. That's how I should have started the stream. And lasers, pew pew. So there you go. That's everything. You are now up to speed with everything I know about this 3D printer. Now, I don't only have a 3D printer to build today. I have a lot of other things that I would like to get done, maybe. But you know how that goes. Sometimes we're more productive than other times. While we're printing the benchy, I have found a couple of more plugs that I need to put ends on. That's always a lot of fun. So we'll have lots of stuff to do, a little bit of time to hang out. I'm guessing we're going to be around 3 hours, 3.5 hours on this stream today. So sit tight, get you some coffee. Let's see how this goes. It is Shark Week, absolutely. You know, unfortunately, I've been really busy this week. I love Shark Week, by the way. I've been watching it for many, many years. Unfortunately, this week I have not had any time to watch any of Shark Week. But I do have a lot of it DVR'd. So, at some point, I will get the chance to watch some of it. I am very interested in Mike Tyson taking on Jaws. So, I definitely got to check that out. Coffee sounds like a plan. Scott Latine, what is up, my friend? Whale shark. Theoretically, you could jump the shark. That is absolutely true. Jerry, I was on Jerry's channel, 3D Printing and Painting, earlier this week. What was that, Wednesday? Wednesday evening. He had me as a guest. We had a good time. It was great. Okay, so I was wrong. This is not the base kit. This is the everything kit. I am not planning on setting up dual extrusion today. If you have ever done that, it's usually not the easiest thing to do. So I am going to set this up as a single color machine because I thought that's what I was getting myself into. There is a nice thick manual here, but this one has the laser engraving kit. It has a toolkit, which we will check out. It has bi-color printing. We will take a look at these kits to see what they look like at some point in this stream, just to see what the different hot ends is going to look like. We got 2 small sections of filaments. Actually, they're decent size. They're 0.2 kg, so 200 gram spools. I got a green and an orange, which I like those colors. Bi-color better than dual color? That's a philosophical question. Bill has bought one with all of the options as well. Just set up the laser. My eyes. And they mentioned somewhere that this is not a BL Touch. This is a 3D Touch. So however you feel about that one way or another, that's what we got. But that is definitely worth the add-on, I would guess. You know, some people don't like the old auto bed leveling, and I guess I get it, but if it works, if you can get it set up correctly, it can save you some time. So we got brackets, we got a touch screen. I do love the curly cord. Back when I was playing guitar, I always thought the curly cords were the best, because they didn't seem to break near as much. But, I don't know, it reminds me of, like, old IBM computer keyboards back in the 80s. So that's pretty cool. It is a touch screen, I heard. We have a toolkit. What is in our toolkit? We get the old, I don't know, there's a whole lot of kits that come out with this reversible, I don't know if you can see that in the camera or not, but these reversible yellow screwdrivers. I like to refer to these as the slip and stab. So a good old slip and stab. We do get a nozzle wrench, SD cards, some different Allen wrenches, a different couple of spare nozzles, some Bowden couplers. So a pretty good suite of. Ooh, we get the red glasses instead of the green ones. We get some clippers, spool holder. You know, the standard fare, but these are the little higher grade clipper, I like to call them. They're not the light blue ones, they're the thicker, little bit better dark blue ones, so that's cool. So that's what we get in tools. Telephone cords, absolutely. You hate curly cords. I always kind of like the curly cord. Thought it was good. All right. Oh, they give you some wood to play around with your pew pew lasers. Let's see how we got this stacked in here. It's probably tied down to the control board. Sometimes these are jigsaw puzzly to get out of here. This one kind of, it's keyed, so you can somewhat slip it past the foam. Oh, you know, I've had like 2 Ender 3s where that exact same thing happened. We lost a leveling knob during shipping. I don't know why that is, but that seems to be a common problem. It is packed really well. It has a lot of foam around it. So that's good to see. Now here's always the trick. Being able to set something down while the box is still on the table. I like the color of the extrusion. It's got like a purple sheen to it. And so do the injection molded parts, like for the leveling holder and things. So this thing is pretty much all assembled. We have to stand the gantry up. Even all the wires and such are done. I mean, like even the end stops. There's no end stop plugging. There's one for the Z motor, and that's about it. It's nicely finished, I have to say. Just checking it out here. We do get one Z screw. Let's set this off here for a second. Lenny, I'm doing well. I hope you are doing well. This is a Chinese company. I kind of felt bad. So it's funny you mentioned that. I kind of felt bad because I asked them if the printer was coming from China. It was just a question. And they said, is there a problem with that? And I said, no, there's no problem. It's just I wanted to know how fast it was going to get here, so I knew how long I had to schedule building it. If it was coming from China, I have like 3-week lead time. I can plan a lot more stuff. I don't care that it's coming from China. I just wanted to know how fast I could do it. Now this is a nice sheet. This thing has a lot of steel in it. It's not near as thin as some of the sheets you see. You can tell by the non-floppy sound that I like to get. Bed needs a bit of work. That's pretty much typical for the Ender 3 style. Let's set this off to the side for now. And let's just, this is the TFT holder. Let's see. I should have roughly 4 or 5 screws around here somewheres. Aha! There they are. So not much hardware. There's just like 6 screws total. So that's good. Not much for you to put together. Even less than an Ender 3. Does it print cheese? That is a great question, Chris Galata. Chris, good to see you here, by the way. It doesn't at this time, but that doesn't mean it won't at some time. You know how things run around here. I'm going to slide this off to the side and put some of these. I guess we should take a look at the manual just before I start building things, just to see what's going on. What's shaking in the manual? Here's all the things you don't want to do. We read that. Remember, you saw me read that. Children younger than 10 years old are forbidden to use the product without supervision. Well, Now, is that physically or mentally? Yeah, install screen, install spool holder. It gives you a rundown of the screen's information. One thing I do that stands out right now that I do find very interesting, it has 4 fans on the hot end. You have a hot end fan and 3 part fans. They look to be like 30 radials, the slim radials. We'll get a shot of that in a minute. Pretty interesting. It does have filament runout, it looks like. Okay, so it's pretty much all this is how you use it type of thing. So I think we're just going to go with the standard manual setup for everything for today, get that working, and then we'll see about integrating things like the touch sensor and whatnot. So what do they intend to be? So the front of the printer actually has all of the plugs and such on it. Okay. So yeah. So you have we'll look at all this in the other camera. By the way, we might try the higher res camera today just for fun. I do have it set up over here, so we'll see how that goes. But so on the front, you have all of you've got your plug to add your leveling sensor, your laser, and your dual. So your USB and your SD card slot. No, what? That looks like an HDMI port. Oh, that's for the screen. Oh, cool. It's HDMI. Anyway, so all of that is up here in front, so you can get to it easier. Might not make it look the most aesthetically pleasing. Maybe they need a cover or something. One with a shark on it. But, you know, just observations that I'm making on the fly. I'll try not to scratch their lovely lavender extrusion up too much. Okay. That's roughly where it needs to be. We do need to change our power over to something that I can work with. We will do that next. 3D Print Vikings here. What's up, John Strand? I probably didn't say hey to you. What's up, John? Zolan, Ben Cox. Just people as I see coming through here. Imagination to Form. What's up, Bob? How's it going? 1.21 gigawatts. Non-fam is here. What's going on? All right. They do provide you all the tools you need to assemble this. I just can't believe how many times in a row I lose the wrench that I like to use. Absolutely ridiculous. And I've got one, the problem is I've got one that's really similar to the one that I like, but it's all Torx bits instead of hex bits. So I think that is the one I want. I was like, oh yeah, it's there. But no, it's not. It's not there. I guess I really only have a couple of screws. I guess I can do these by hand if I have to. With the little wrench. Going well, Tom. Going well. Hopefully you are doing well. L3D, what is up? How you doing? I do have a magnetic holder thingy for my wrenches, but only for the small wrenches. I use the ratcheting Milwaukee wrenches, and I do have 2 of those, but it never seems to be in the place where I need it. I don't know what was I working on. I was working on something right here, but obviously I drug it somewhere else. I can't even remember what I was working on last to be using that. Maybe I did change out a fan shroud on the rail core. Maybe it's setting over there. Who knows? I need someone to keep track of these things. You know how handy it would be if you just had someone to follow you around and pick up the tools? Alright, let's switch that over to 115 with the pokey tool. We can go and plug this stuff in. There's really not a whole lot of stuff to do here, so. Clicky clicky switches. We will need to adjust that bed. In fact, I think I will do that before I put the screen on. However, the belts seem pretty good. These are usually 10mm eccentric nuts. If you adjust these, just a side tip, it's real easy because you usually have a lot of these printers, Ender 3 such, CR10. CR10 might have 6. Anyway, you're going to have one front and back. If you do need to make some adjustments, make sure you're adjusting them somewhat evenly. And it's real easy to tell. Well, I mean, not super easy to tell. It's somewhat easy to tell if they need adjustment or if you have one just a little tighter than the other, because you can feel it on that rail. Just go real slow, and if you feel it kind of fall into a pit, you probably have one just a little bit too tight. Like right there, you have just a little bit of drag. I like to actually put a mark on them with, like, just a dot on them with a marker, so I can kind of judge where that might be. These wheels are not known for consistency. I've actually had to replace them on brand new printers before. Just a side tip. One of them is just a bit off. And it's that one. So spend a little time doing this if you have to. You will have much better results overall. One of the wheels has just a little bit of drag in it, but there's no, sometimes you can feel kind of a hard stop, like where there's maybe a flat spot or something. This one doesn't have that. It's not that bad. It's also sometimes kind of hard to tell whether it might be an idler problem or a wheel problem. So your mileage may vary. Just saying. Just saying. Where's our other wheel? We need to put a wheel back on. Nerd Girls 3D Printing, what is up? I am doing well. I hope you are doing well. I am not 100% sure what mainboard this is. I do know it is 32-bit. I have heard that it does have TMC drivers. So that's as much as I know about it. I don't believe they include any information in here about it. But by the time we're done with this and getting reviewed and all that, we will know all about it. I do believe they have silent steppers. And that's probably the biggest draw to any printer at this point, whether it has those or not, because probably nowadays you can just go ahead and say, if it doesn't have silent steppers, I'm going to pass. Probably a fair statement at this point. So we will know that much, but I won't know exactly which board they're using. I don't know what firmware they're using either. I don't know. Mr. Latine was in here. I don't know if he has been contacted about this machine or if he can even say that. But there's a whole lot I don't know. I just said, sure, I'll build one for you. Web page says 2208. Awesome. That's good to know. Techie Dad, hello. How are you? Did you tell me something and I missed it? Patrick Cruz is here. What's up, Patrick? L3D is getting paid overtime to hang out and watch this. More power to you. Here comes the screen. Oh, it wasn't near as stuck as a lot of them are. It wasn't as satisfying as I've seen, but we'll go for that. I do kind of like this. The first thing I want to do with this, when I see it, the shroud on this is a bit tight. But it does hold it in there. It's got a nice molded grommet on it to hold the plug in, but it's like breaker. What's your vector, Victor? But anyway, so that's enough playing around for today. I want to make sure nothing's too far off. Lead screw's nice and smooth. This thing has dual filament drive gears. Bondtech like, or we're gonna start saying Bondtech like we do BuildTech. Maybe it's possible. So, what do you say? We'll power it up and see what happens. So I was going to tell you that maybe we would try to use super fancy camera today. Maybe we should try to do that. Seems like all of this is just relocating things on the table. Super fancy camera should be able to get you a nice view from all the way over here. Let's duplicate a session. It is 4K capable, but my sessions are not 4K. I have thought about doing that at some point. but I have not built all the scenes and everything for that. Video capture device. I guess I probably ought to turn it on so that it knows that, you know, I would like to use it. I don't think the screen on it's really going to do me much good. Or maybe it won't work at all. Don't you love coming to these streams to watch me work a computer? Now, come on, this totally worked yesterday. Said every user ever. Hmm. Maybe one of my plugs got pulled out or something. Reboot it. Worst part is I can't do anything about it because, you know, I've got a stream running and all that good stuff. It's still got the configuration and stuff that I have for it, so it did work at one time. Oh, wait. Ah, I see what happened. Hold on. Totally got this figured out now. It's because I was testing it the other day for my brother James, and I set it on a different scene. Cool. I will be right with you, chat. I'm not ignoring you, just playing hard to get. Okay, so let's do one of these numbers. So this should be a little nicer, so now let's power it up. I do like the fact that there's a big toggle on here. And I can show you super awesome screen because I can move it around. Ooh, Shark logo. Now they did tell me that I should update the firmware before I continue. You know, with the way that they're doing things, it's probably a great idea. So there was an SD card in one of these packages. The audio is doubled. That is a great point. Thank you. I totally thought about that too. I totally thought about that. But you know what? I should shut the audio off on that. No problem. Boom. There you go. All fixed. Thank you for that. It makes me sound mighty. Maybe we should turn it back on then. I want to sound mighty. Hark! It is Shark Week, and I made it so. I have a cool remote for that camera too, so I can like stand over here and zoom and stuff. So that's pretty sweet. Okay, so let's put some firmware on. Now, this is a 32-bit board, so all we should have to do, I'm saying it here, is load some firmware on it. I'm going to make a, oh, they have a Lucky Cat, they have a Crocodile G-code. I'm going to make a backup of the stuff that's on this card. I am mighty. I miss the Tick cartoon. I really like the Tick cartoon. I am mighty. What was his sidekick's name? No, it wasn't Walter. No, I can't remember. He was like the moth guy on the cartoon. Forgot his name. He was the best. He was like a lawyer in real life or something. Arthur was his name. Arthur. All right. So we're going to put some new firmware on this SD card. Spoon! Absolutely. Love that show. We dragged and dropped, so we should be able to put it right back in here. I'm guessing this board is upside down. Yeah? It is upside down in there, so note that. And then we turn it off. Oh, it says I have poor kilobits. Hopefully that figures itself out. Then we turn it on. Let's see if it tells us that it's updating. It is definitely staying white longer. Font is being upgraded. So we are upgrading. So that's good that it actually tells you. Some of these machines don't tell you that. So I like that. This we can go ahead and put our sheet on. We will have to level this. The magnets seem to be very powerful. So that's good. Picture is being upgraded. We're moving right along. We need some coffee to upgrade ourselves. YouTube isn't liking me. I wonder if it's because of our new awesome scene. YouTube isn't receiving enough data to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Just for fun, let's try getting off of that scene. I don't think that's it, but let's try it. It's dropping frames like crazy. We'll see. Hopefully it pans out. I wish there was something you could do to like pull it back so that you could kind of combat dropped frames. The funny part is, though, after YouTube processes these, like when you watch it back, it squishes it all together because it does eventually get some of them. So it's smooth on playback. It's just terrible during the stream. Oh, we're back. We're coming back up. Let's see. Oh, now we're back to 5,000. So maybe YouTube was just having a short problem. We've stopped dropping frames. So maybe we're all right. pull back their awesomeness. Okay, our firmware is updated, so that's good. Let's go ahead and touchscreen worked first touch, preheat, PLA. That's going for 200. I'll take PLA for 200, please. But what about the bed? No, I want to go faster than 1C. There we go. So you can do 1, 5, and 10. Thank you for that. And it is heating. You have preheat for both Hotends and such. We can go back. The touchscreen is nice so far. It is nice and responsive, so that's cool. Let's see if it will auto home. You can turn the sound off. I like that. There is a leveling button. Print setting. What's in setting? Status, continue, adjust. Oh, it's adjusting the screen. I should know better than this. It is in single extruder mode. It knows that. Auto home is in move. Ooh, it's quiet. Hello, Mr. Buttram. Somebody said hey to Jordan. I'm guessing that's Mad Monkey. Hey, Jordan. Derek Matthews is here. Yeah, there's Mad Monkey. So we auto homed. We didn't crash. We're pretty close to the bed, but not terrible. So let's run it down just a bit. We did lose a wheel in shipping. And let's actually use their leveling sequence, shall we? I need some paper. Good thing I never throw anything away. Oh, you can actually step through it spot by spot. That's cool. You don't have to wait for it to cycle if one doesn't seem right. How different is this screen than the one on the Ender 3? It seems very different. V2 isn't touchscreen, but you probably already knew that. But it doesn't seem near as tall. I'm not sure what size that is, actually. Let's move on here. Probably way out of scope here, since we did lose a wheel. First, second, third Chris. All the Chris's. That's like second dinner. If you see the printer wobble, it's probably not the printer. It's probably the table. I know people are like, oh, the printer's not level. Well, no, it's the fact that I use this flooring, and a lot of these are buckled. I really need to find, I said this on one of the streams before, but I would like to find some just plastic flooring. Some that I would know, like hard plastic. Something that I know is going to stay relatively flat. Because the second, I bought this flooring from an open box that was damaged for like $5. But the second this gets any moisture on it at all, even just like overspray from the alcohol cleaning the beds, it buckles. And that doesn't make for a really awesome flat surface. I can tell you that. This does have a spool holder, by the way. I guess we could put it on. Kind of like these leveling thing. Vinyl. That might be the way to go. I have been moving. I love the ultimate spamming. I have been moving stuff around. Thank you for noticing. I've been trying to change up the shelves a little bit, move some of my storage items to other shelving over there. Trying to make it a little easier to use, because I just have a lot of stuff sitting around that doesn't need to be sitting around. So I'm getting ready to start filming videos full-time again. And I thought, well, now's the perfect time to change up the scenery a bit. So that's what I'm going to try to do. In fact, if I have some time today while this thing is printing, I would like to try to continue to organize that a bit. But yes, I have made some changes. Alright, let's see what the center's like. They make some really nice vinyl tiles these days. Okay. What's up, Ricky Tanner? Tanner is moving to his new home, I believe. Travis Stanford's here. What's up, Travis? William Johnson. Okay. Filament. How about some nice silver? Haven't done silver in a while. What do you think? Silver is nice. Let's do some silver, just for fun. I got some right over here. I need my clippers, though. I got some right over here. What can I do to get you into some silver today? Nothing against their sample spools, nothing at all, but they are nicely packed in vacuumed, pristine condition. Might as well use some stuff I have sitting around. So it goes through the filament sensor, nice. Remember, this is dual drive gear, but it has an arm on it. So it's not like Bondtech where you have to have some sort of loading sequence. It does allow you to kind of push past it. Now, I'm not saying that it wouldn't be nice to have some sort of loading sequence. There's quite a bit of green filament in here. Let's go back a bit. Let's move. And let's go. Beep, 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 beep. Not extrusion. There's load and unload. Let's just have it load and see what it does. It's already loaded. Gary Pauly, thank you very much for the $10. I appreciate that, sir. Richard Crook, what's up? Thanks for coming to the stream, Gary. Stig is here. What's going on? Looks kind of similar to the V2, a little different stance, I would say. Stance is a good word for it. Let's just have it feed some filament through here. I think there's quite a bit of spare filament. Actually, now we're starting to get silver. Cool. All right. So, another nuance of this machine. Go home. Go home. You too good for your home? Another nuance of this machine is they have Lotmax has their own flavor of Cura, and they would like me to try that out. So let's do that. Would you like to see their flavor of Cura? Sure you would. Why wouldn't you? You get to share my screen and see me slice a benchy. I'm sure you've never ever seen that. So one thing I did notice when I opened this up yesterday is that it's clocking Cura at doing this on this machine, doing a benchy in 1 hour and 8 minutes. Okay, so you have these layer heights up here. Well, they have a couple of different 0.2 layer heights. So you go to this one, right? And we can look at some of the other settings, but we don't need to get so involved here. But, well, actually, let's just pop open custom and see what it does. So we got a print speed of 60, and Cura does things a little differently, you understand, than some other slicers do. So, you know, so that's normal. Then you can go to normal with mid speed. That's 90, man. And then you have one at normal with fast speed. That's 135. Seriously. So we don't need to be in that big a hurry today. So we're going to stick with the 60. Building or printing? That is a hard question. I like them both. And I get kind of tired of both, honestly. Sometimes I feel like that I've built way too many. And then sometimes I feel like, I really want to stop printing things right now because that's frustrating. So that's a hard one. I go from one to the other at times. A plethora of Cura? Yeah. Yeah, alright. That's good. And there it is. It has a prefix on it. We're going to hit print. And let's just see what happens. Ooh, it has a nice preview of my benchy. You see that? Pretty sweet. It's doing a prime line over there. Hopefully it's working. Yes, it is. It's got some schmutz on it. It looks pretty nice. Pretty good. So now, with this thing, we should be able to get extreme close-up. Whoa! We're going to have to move you a little. Oh, wait. Oh, come on. When it's that zoomed in, it's really hard to move around. And now all 3 of my amazing part fans are starting up. It's going to be super cool. Enhance. What's up, Dave?
Ever seen an issue on a Creality Hotend where heat creeps way up and clogs and bursts the PTFE at the top of the hot end. Lol.
Whoa. Where it gets that high and bursts the PTFE. I don't think I've ever seen it get that far where it bursts it. Maybe like where it grips the coupler, like it's been eating it, like you spun it, like somebody took it off while it was on there, and the teeth were starting to eat through. Maybe that's why it burst through. But no, I have never seen that one. And thank you very much for the $10, Paul. That's much appreciated. Dave is here from Printed Solid, one of my favorite folks. I saw on Twitter that Jessie was having a few issues. I hope she's doing well. I know what it's like to have a dog that's going through some stuff, and it's kind of frustrating. So I hope she gets better soon. Jessie is a she, if I remember correctly. Quite the upgrade from the Logitech. Yes, it is. I hope it turns out well on the stream, with us zoomed in like that. But we'll see how that goes. Gotta love some Jessie PLA. Absolutely. I have a mountain of that stuff. We think we're gonna need a bigger boat. 3D object previews on the screen are nice to have. Scott, I think I can't speak for you, because, you're a developer and you do things completely way over my head. I mean, I'm not even in the same room as all of that. But honestly, I'm still on the 2004 screen. It works. I like just a couple of options. I like to hit the button. I even kind of like the backlight and how it looks. So these touchscreens are fancy with their previews and all that good stuff, but I mean, I still have a lot of printers that don't even have a screen. So I still like the old LCD, but you know how things go. People like flashy stuff. Do I have a Twitch channel? I've never tried Twitch. That doesn't mean we can't, but I've never tried Twitch. Twitch is useless. So there we go. Yeah, that is the worst, Dave. When they're really drugged up and they can't do anything. At my old dog, he was going at the end of his life. He was going through some hard times, and he was on some heavy medication. But he'd like walk 5 or 6 steps to get a drink of water and have to take a break, and then it was so sad. I felt so bad for him. Sometimes that's the worst. Absolutely, I love the 24 display. You like the Jessie Blue Moon? I have a whole bunch of parts, Angel, printed out in that for a project that I've never gotten to. But it is a very nice color. These are all my parts. Part quality on that probably isn't all that well. I do really dig the color, though. That's Blue Moon. Is it? No, it is very quiet. Even the fan. I mentioned this before. There are 4 fans on that hot end carriage, 1 hot end and 3 part fan, and all of them are going right now, and it is very quiet. It is a lot quieter than the Ender 3 V2. Jake from State Farm is here. What's up, Jake? What's up, Jake Matt? Okay, so I mentioned I had some other things to do. I guess I could do those. Or we could wait and take coffee break. I don't know. I mean, those estimates are fine and good, an hour and 8 minutes or whatever. I don't know how long that's actually going to take. The camera shot seems to be decent. It does like to focus in on the shark logo, it looks like. So far, so good. Chillin' like Bob Dylan. Martin from Argentina, what is up? Thanks for coming. I got fans at the wazoo. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's the first thing I was going to do. I need to put a... Ooh, these have Prusa-ready connectors. I really hate to cut a Prusa connector off of this, but I will if I have to. Is this a 1 or a 2? This is a 1. Well, this will be our victim. I need to put a duet connector on a probe for another project I have going on. Is this going to be long enough for this project? This said project. No, it is not. So we're going to have to make something for this one anyway. You know, the cheap probes, do I have any of those? I have one. These might have a lot longer lead than the Prusa intended probes. Yes, they do. So maybe we'll start out with the $3 probe just because it's longer. I think that's a great idea. Not G10 just woke up. Good morning, Not G10. I'm glad you woke up. Here's my box of I don't want to do it. Hence all of the duet connector things that takes me 3 hours to do. Imagination Reform is still not up. I've had this camera for a long time, Matt. I just have never set it up. I never bought like a tabletop tripod or anything. It's just a Sony Handycam, but it's the 4K one, and it's got that. What do they call it? I don't know anything about cameras, you guys. It's got that stabilizer tremble thing for the lens, which actually kind of makes it challenging to use. But I don't know the model number. I want to say it's like 50 FX53 or something like that. It's like a $700 camera or somewhere in it. Not a very expensive camera, but an all-in-one handycam type of thing. But I figured we'd start using it since I do have a cam link for it. So, well, let's talk about that again. Let's talk about this printer one more time and how they're funding it, since that was mentioned. How much is it? So, this is being run as an Indiegogo campaign. So, if you back it, remember, this is crowdfunded, and you might never see anything. This is a gamble if you back something like this. But the fact that they do have products, they have, I received something, so the chance that you receive something might be a little higher. Now, that says nothing for mass production and all that, of course. Of course, you got to take all that into account. But if you back it and you want just the single color printing, it's around $270 US. And then you can add options from there. You can go to dual color, so with a V hot end. We'll look at that, by the way. Then you can go to the auto leveling sensor. They will give you a 3D touch sensor for a couple of extra dollars. And then you can go full boat and get the laser engraver head as well. So, and if you go, I think leveling adds 20, second color adds 40, I want to say. And then the laser, everything and all, the whole thing is $379. So that's kind of your price schema as I understand it. But remember, you're not buying a printer, you're backing their campaign. There is a difference. And as soon as I do this one, let's look at the laser and other stuff that we get in this box. I was only expecting to get the single color printer. I wasn't expecting to get all of their other attachments. So yeah. So that happened. Do I print carbon fiber filament? Not very often. I think that camera can probably see it better than my eye. It doesn't look to be layer shift, it looks to be an extrusion issue. The larger screens from Big Tree Tech, there is a chance, Gary, that I will be reviewing those. They have a little different screen now that I don't have one of them yet, but I thought about asking them if I could get one. But as for the TFT screens, you get I think they've got a 3.5, a 5, and a 7 now. Yes, there will be a chance. A very, very good chance, by the way. I really want to see what a Benchy looks like at 135. Alright, where's that board? I need to look at this board. Got a new 5-inch. Cool. Yes, we have been stable for a while, so it's still setting at 3446. I've been kind of keeping an eye on it. But thank you for confirming that. Are all of the end stops on Duet 3.3 volt? I believe they are. We may have to break this up a bit. So I'm not going to put that in a housing for now, because I will need to grab 5 volt. I could get it off the panel do, but I really don't want to do that. I'll have to look at the breakout on the X, because I seem to recall pulling 5 volt from the X panel, and we could do that. And I guess I could get real creative. Oh, these might be switchable, actually, because there are 5 volt pins. I don't know, I gotta read up on that. Again, where my Duet knowledge lacks. I haven't had near as much interaction with these guys. So I'll have to look that up. Run them all 3, you'll be fine. Well, I'm going to run a 5-volt probe. It might work on 3, but I'd be more comfortable at 5. What's up, Greg, by the way? 42 volts. We'll decide what we're going to do about that later. The important part is I got the pins on, because that is the most irritating portion of that configuration. Awesome, Angel. That's cool. No problems with upgrading or tinkering. I'm ST. Any recommendations for Core XY? Look at the Second Go kit. If you can wait the shipping, they have a lot of different options. You can order just the base and then upgrade it yourself. There's a few different upgrade options if you want to spend the money. But Second, as in second printer, and they have a printer called the Go. It's a pretty nice Core XY kit for around that type of money. Take a look at that. I can recommend one of those because I do have one. I have had some other Core XY kits that were not so great, that were a lot more budget friendly. But check that one out. 220, 221, whatever it takes. Something I'm seeing, use an SKR 314 turbo. Should start print SD card, everything heats up, but then heat sets back to 0. You know, I've seen that issue. What was it? So I saw that issue one time, Richard, where every time I tried to print off the SD card, it did that exact thing. But then if I printed via serial, it worked fine. So first thing I would try hooking it up to pronter face, just USB cable it, and kick off a file. Try that. Other than, you know, formatting your SD card, which you've probably already done that. But check that out. I'm going to say that if the USB connection and it will actually start printing there. I'm going to say you have like there's something going on with the screen, or one of those cables maybe got pulled out a bit. Don't know, something like that. Because I have seen that before, but it would work from the USB serial. So check that out. Sergio's here. I didn't say hi to you to Sergio today. Hello. Yes, absolutely. Hello, and Bayou. We're gonna go with that. And yes, it is Galaxy Silver. Isn't that what they call it? Yes, Galaxy Silver Benchy today. Nappin is here. What's up, Nappin? You missed all of my awesome wire management streams, Nappin. I was really kind of depressed you weren't there. They do, Radmius, they do have Z-Probe pens, but I need to look. Some of them are 3.3, so I need to go pull out the schematic. I know there is a 5-volt somewhere because I've used it before, but I need to pull out the schematic and take a look. I don't know it as well as some of the other boards. Saw that with bad SD card. It's got to be something in that. Either I've seen it. I've pulled the SD card out, flipped it to another one, and still seen it before. So it could go either way. I agree. I would have totally done bad SD card the first time, and that's what I did. But you were hidden for a reason. You were curled up underneath the coffee table, just saying why over and over. What is a good metal frame, and where can I get one to convert my A9 A8? So Scott, there are a couple options for that. That's really not the most common thing that you would usually see. You would think it would be a little more common. There are a couple different ones, but if it was me and I really wanted to go, well, now I'm thinking again. But so the first step that I would take, you start thinking about this stuff, and then you're like, well, you could really ramp it up But anyway, the first step I would take would be look at a Prusa flat frame. So you can get a flat frame and the Y carriage frame. I think they're less than $100. They're 6mm aluminum. I believe Dave over at Printed Solid has all of those. Check that out. If they don't have them, there are a couple other companies that do. I think All 3D Maker makes them or has them, and you can get them from Prusa sometimes, but probably not unless you're a Prusa customer. Check that out. And then if you really want to get involved, you could go with a Bear kit. And I realize that it's an ANET, and you could go like build the AM8 project, but pretty much all of the parts there to build a Bear kit, I mean, you could make it work and relatively use some of the same stuff. Your bed, you're gonna have to do some measuring and some triage on that as far as the bed holes, if they line up and all that good stuff. But if you're wanting to go to a metal frame, you might have already upgraded a lot of that anyway. But that would be the first thing that I would look into. I don't know if there are any frames that are ANET A8 specific, like metal frame options. I don't really follow that kind of stuff. But that's the first thing that I would look at. There you go. Just go Bear with it. You could get you a really nice, different colored one. Purple, blue. Beau. Sorry. Thank you. It's French. I will do my best to remember that, sir. But, thank you. Yes, I do enjoy Prusa mint. AliExpress has AM8 kits. There you go. You might look at that. eBay has some kits. Cool. So, here's what I was thinking. I'll get your opinion while we sit here and watch this Benchy print. How's our camera doing, by the way? Looks pretty good. It's doing a decent job of focusing on the Benchy. You think the upgrade's worth it? Hopefully so. It's not that much harder to use, especially since we have Cam Link, so I'm okay with it. Ease of use is always my first. Then, you know, everything else. So here's what I'm thinking. I would like to have these shelves represent some sort of, like, some of the projects we were working on, some of the prints that we've done, but you to be able to see them in the background in a lot of the videos. So I added some LED lights, added a couple of strips, but these shelves are real deep. They're like 24 inches deep, and the top of them are black. So it just eats the light completely. But I have done this one, but I was going to do this one up here as well, and just kind of, you know, get rid of all the storage and put different things in there. So if you take a look at it right now, you really can't see a whole lot in there. And I'm not expecting you to be able to see everything that's in there. Just notice that there is stuff in there, right? So if I turn this on, from your point of view, can you actually tell what's going on in there? Because I'm looking at it like a screen that's like this big in OBS. From your side, full screen, all that, can you see like any notion of what might be happening inside there from the front view? I'll stand back here so that you can kind of see it. A little. That's what I was kind of worried about. Just a little. Because you really can't, for the most part, I'm standing right here in the videos and you really can't tell what's back there anyway. So I don't know. Maybe it would be worth it. Maybe I should get a few more lights. Maybe I should just put all the cardboard boxes back in there. So that's what I was kind of figuring. A lot of people watch for their phone. Could use more. Yeah. That's what I kind of thought. So I'll have to work on that. Maybe I'll find some different lights that I can use or something. And it would kind of be nice, but also if I was going to do that, maybe I would like, you know, maybe I should get a different color shelf and use this somewhere else for storage. We'll see what I come up with. Thank you for that. Yeah, lighter color. Contact paper, that's not a bad idea. Just needs lighting. I would like to find some, because that shelf is 4 foot. It would be really cool if I could find like a single 4-foot tube fixture that was somewhat small. If you've ever bought, fluorescent light tube things, you know that they get real crazy with the bulb sizes, and then you can never find a replacement bulb. They get the T10s and 12s and 8s and whatever they might be. So finding them usually isn't a big problem, but then finding bulbs is always kind of a chore. So that would be kind of nice if I could get a couple that... The problem is these have cross members in them, so it can't be the full length or you'd be able to see it. So if I could get like 2 18-inch lights or something, I guess that would work. I'll look around and see what I can find. I like the idea of it being a little more interesting back here, and maybe not, so many piles of stuff everywhere. But it's going to be harder than I think it is, I think. Harbor Freight has some 4-footers for 20. All right. What's up, Sergio? Sergio Ventura, the other Sergio. The black prints don't show up. We might have to switch those out. Not a work area unless you have piles of stuff. That's absolutely correct. I'm totally with you on that. Okay, so we're going to take a coffee break in just a second. But before we do that, I know you're watching the Benchy, and that's awesome. But let's take a look at the bi-color printing kit, the 2-color printing kit, real quick, and see what we get in here. Let's just pan out a bit and take a look. Well, you know what I should have done? We're getting all kinds of stuff done today. Hopefully, yes. Hopefully that works with audio capture and all that. It does. So this is our bi-color kit. Let me just take the tubes. So you get a couple of tubes and such. Boy, it's still really zoomed in. Go a little wider than that. So you get some Bowden tubes. You get another spool holder bar. You get another filament sensor, which is kind of cool. And you get another extruder arm. Now, I was going to show you this, but it does have dual drive gears on it. So they're kind of like Bondtech gears. So there's that. But then here is the hot end design that they've come up with. And these hot ends, they're round instead of flat, but they're kind of like the Creality design. Focus. You got this, man. So you got a Y pipe on top. I don't know how this is going to work. I haven't had a ton of luck with designs like this, but I will surely give it a try and report back to you. I will. So that is their dual extrusion setup. And again, I think it's only like 40 bucks more, and you get all these parts and wires that you can hook it up. And they do plug in right in front. So much easier to install them. So that's the bi-color kit. Now let's take a look at the laser real quick. Well, we can take a... So I probably showed you this already, but this is pretty much your standard 3D touch sensor. You get the wires and stuff for that. It also plugs into the front of the printer. But this is your 3D touch and bracket combo that you're going to get. This is also an upgrade. And then let's take a look at this pew pew laser. See how big it is. So you get the wires and all that good stuff. So you get the module and then the laser. The writing is on the other side. So I'm not exactly sure how big that one is, but that's what you're going to get in the kit. Let's actually, before I say that, I want to confirm what that kit is. It is a 1.6 watt. So you can get 1.6 watt with SnapMaker as well. I do have one of those. And you can cut some pretty significant wood and things like that with 1.6. So if that's something you're interested in, that's how big that laser is. Remember, be careful, kids, while you're pew-pewing things. You will hurt your eyes. So there's that. So that's what you get. You can upgrade to that. If you get everything, laser and all, it's around $370, $380, somewhere in there, US. Again, remember, it is a crowdsource campaign. So that is a shark with a laser beam. Now, if it was being held by a bear, that we should stack it on top of the bear printer, because that would officially be the most dangerous animal in the world. So awesome. Where do you attach the lasers to the shark? It's actually kind of a sidecar thing. You'll have to look at the pictures on the website. So it is coffee time, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to switch you to full screen Benchy view. And I'm going to go grab some coffee. Everyone else, take a small break. We'll be right back, and we will finish this Benchy up. I'm back. Are we still printing? We're still printing. looks pretty good. I do have to say the camera is just a little bit susceptible to table shake. I'm noticing right now. What could we do to help that? I don't know if this camera has stabilization on it. I mean, it should already be on, right? In my experience, yeah. Steady shot, it is active. That's that automatic gimbal thing. We'll go with it for now, but maybe I'll look at that, because it does seem to be impacted by our shock just a bit. That's okay. We'll deal with it. Stepper dampener, there you go. I got a box of those. If we can make that work, I could hook that up right now. Seaworthy for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. I could just put on... I don't know if I like the red ones or the green ones then, or where are my greenies at? We should try these on back to back and see. And then I can get really sick because I've taken huge swings from one color to another. Oh man, I got cords and stuff everywhere over here. I can't even walk through here. Boy, I need to clean these off or something. Yep, the green ones definitely put a spin on things. I've never had a set of red ones before. Whoa. I don't know, I think the red ones might be better. I kind of like the red ones seem more private. I don't know. I think I like the red ones better. I'll just wear these all the time. We'll have to give them a try. Safety first, kids. I need to find a good little cubby hole to put all my different protective glasses in. I'll put them away so I never know where they're at. What do you think the chances of lasering HDPE would be? How do you think that would turn out? I'm going to try it anyway, no matter what our decision is on that today, just to give it a whirl because I've got some extra small sections of it. But I don't know how it's going to melt, versus another more rigid material. I don't know. I'm interested in the experiment one way or another. How's the laser attached? Yes, so many good laser jokes. There's probably been subscribers that I didn't think, but Warble Sync. I don't know when you subbed, but thank you for the sub. 2 hours ago. Thank you for the sub. Oscar, thank you for the sub, and Heron, thank you for the sub. To its freaking head. How about no? Mike Pearson is here. What's up, Mike? Bryce, Joel. 3D print some nose shape. That is a great idea, not G10. I look like being Judge Dredd. Sweet. Support on wood shelf. That's a great idea. I should do that. Because the first thing I was thinking was like, you know, in some of the cars that have the pop down where you put your shades, you push it and it folds down, just kind of a bucket, like a little oblong bucket. I was thinking that, but that's a better idea. Do I think it's worth the price? Well, I don't know. I really can't tell you that. I can tell you this. This is comparable in price and in stature, form to Ender 3 V2. There are things I like about this one more than the V2. The V2, the things that I like about it the most is how compact it is versus the one. Power supply is put away. It's got a drawer that fits bitchies. It does have a glass bed with kind of an ultra base like material, which is not my favorite bed. Some people really dig it. I'm not one of them. It's much more polished than the Ender 3 V1. And I mean, it's a little better quality. You get a 40-40 extrusion for Y instead of a 20-40. It's just, there are a few things that do make it better than the V1. Now, there are some things I like about this one better than the V2. In fact, I mean, if print quality is the same and things turn out, again, I haven't tested this at all. I've only had a week with the V2, so I don't really know a ton about it. But if things turn out the same print quality-wise and all that good stuff, there are things I like about this one better. And they're about the same price. You get a removable steel sheet. I like the steel sheet way better than I like the glass bed. It has the same 40-40 extrusion for Y on this one. It does not have belt tensioners like the V2, so I'm going to give a mark on that one for the V2. I like the removable screen better than the other one. I think I like the menu on the V2 a little better, just the layout. But I do like it that this one, it's touchscreen. And it has a curly cord, which is awesome. And it has filament runout, and it has dual filament drive gears. So let's just say the Ender 3 was a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10. Let's say the Ender 3 V2 is a 7. I would say this one's like a 7 3/4, almost an 8. Now, don't ask me what would be 10 on that, because I don't want to say that, because we're not talking about that. But I think this one, if for the features that I like, I think this one's a little better. Plus, you get really cool lavender extrusion. Indiegogo mashup. No one puts Benchies in a drawer. There's one I haven't heard yet. Thank you. What did the trunks I have get ready? It didn't even make it to, well, I can't say that. Did we technically do a print on that? No, we didn't, because it broke. So it can't even make it on the scale, because out of the box, it did not achieve a print, because the parts broke and it was unusable. Actually, I had to have Cliff, who watches these streams sometimes, machine new brackets so that I could use the printer. So it didn't even make the scale. Buy both and mash them up. That sounds like a great idea for a video, John Strand. Crashed and burned and tried to mortally wound me. All in the same day. I'd spent hours building that thing too, by the way. There's nothing worse than that. So I want to find some lights today for my project to see if that's going to pan out. What else we got to go today? There's something else I was going to get done, but that's probably long gone. Aspirations of getting things done just they're out of here. So, would you like an example of what it's like doing things in Chris's basement? This is on the floor for no good reason, because that's where it ended up. But, so, there are quite a few different types of gates belts, even when you're talking about GT2. This isn't the one I want. But most of the time, when we're talking about 16 tooth, 20 tooth, 6mm belt, all that good stuff, there are just a couple that you should use. There are quite a few that would work technically, but there's just a couple that would 100% match up with the gears and profiles and things like that that you want. Fortunately, we have companies like Printed Solid that take care of all that guesswork for us. Construction 3D, what's up? Wheeled mobile 3D printer. Old hackers. It did so well. Brandon, Techie Dad, hey man, I meant to send you a message, but you're one of the thousands of things I forgot in the last 3 weeks. Sorry about that. Sorry. Joe Roscoe, thanks for the sub. What are your plans for that machine? Are you going to try to turn it back into some sort of Core XY? Because if you are, I gave all of the Z carriages, the ones that hold the bearings, I gave all of those to James over at Print and Play because he was going to try to fix his. But if you are going to try to use it as a Core XY machine, I found some more parts that go with that. And they're all the way over here. I thought that I had given these to someone, but these are the Z smooth rods that have the threads on both sides. They wouldn't be probably a lot of good to you unless you were going to try to turn it into a machine somewhat that size. But if you would like to work out something with me to ship these, I have 4 of them. If you would like to work out something with me to ship those over to you, you are more than welcome to them, because they do go with that machine. I just forgot to throw them in the box. So we can work something out on it. Let me know. I do have them. If not, I'll cut them up and use them for something else or whatever. It's up to you. Personally, I don't know that I would go for a Core XY on that kit. Maybe I'd use some of the parts for something else, save the extrusion for other projects, but whatever you want to do. So Jim Sellers is actually thrown the point that I was going to make. So you have the regular old brown one side, black Gates GT belt. These are a little less than $10 a meter. They are and this is just useless information that you really don't need to know. But while we're standing here, right? They marked the length on all of them. That's pretty cool. So on the regular old belt that you see that are two-tone, these are the LL2G 2GT RFs. Okay, and these are fine belts. They got just a little bit of stretch to them compared to some of the other belts that you see on printer kits. They're a lot easier to work with and get tension just right. I like them. I have it on pretty much everything. Now, for 12 and some change per meter, you can go up to high temp. And the only thing difference is these are an LL2GT-E instead of an RF, and they're not two-toned. They don't have the brown on one side. They are black on both sides. They don't have quite as much give to them. They are high temp belts. I don't know how high temp these are good for. I know most of like the high temp motors and stuff, they start at like 90C or something. So I don't know. These should probably be a little higher than that. They're a little more expensive, but I think I don't know if it's worth it for most projects. But I think if you're going to go enclosure and you don't want to have to mess with retensioning and things like that very often, these might be the way to go. They are just a little bit different. You can kind of feel it in your hands. There's just a little bit more rubberiness, give to the regular versus the high temp. But just be aware of that, of those qualities if you're going to buy some belts. The high temp is an E and the regular is an RF. Just throwing that out there, a little more information for you. Sir Gussie, what's up? Molex connectors, DuPont. So which crimp tool did I get for the DuPonts? I use that that $25 blue one. For DuPont connect, if we're talking about DuPont connectors, I use these guys. They're not the best crimpers in the world, but you can get kind of crazy expensive on these. I did not want to go that way. These are good for 24 to 18. These are SN28Bs. I got them off of Amazon, and they work decent. They're decent. That's the ones I use for DuPont. An X5S belt on Thingiverse. Okay. Yeah, Brandon, it's up to you, man. Just send me a Twitter thing or an email or whatever, however we're connected. I don't ever remember that. Pretty sure we're on Twitter together. Send me a thing. I'll get you a price or whatever. We can work something out, since I did forget to put them in the box. And I'll stick them in the mail. You're pretty close to me. It's pretty cheap to ship things. iWis, yes. I've seen a couple of those. Same one for JST. Now, the JST are a little deeper well. They don't... when you're doing... So, you can get it done. You can get it done. I have attempted it. I don't know if this is going to... So, with that type of jaw, this is what I use for the DuPont connectors, because they're kind of a temporary setup, right? So you're actually going down to crimp the DuPont connector, and that works. It works pretty good on DuPont. You can line it up, and they're okay. But these guys, with the actual kind of shackle inside them, these are much better for the JST type because of the tolerance inside that jaw. It's the same type of jaw, but these, you can set the pin in there. You could get DuPonts done with these as well. But you can set the pin in there a whole lot easier with this type and just leave it like this. Feed your wires in and then crimp her down. So I much prefer these type over the other ones when doing the JST type of connector. The pins are just a little harder to deal with. This one will do, this is the iWis brand. These are 32 to 20, and they will do the connectors from 1 to 1.9 width. Just info. Again, I'm buying cheap ones. These are the cheapest ones I can find because I don't use them every day. But when you need one, you need one. These will do a little wider pipe. I much prefer using these type, though, on JST. It goes a whole lot faster. and they massacre the DuPont pins. The ones that with the shackle, like I like to call it a shackle, the actual permanent type shackle that I showed you that I use for JST, you have to be real sure that, because there's different heights of those, they vary wildly in between the different types of connectors. There's different heights of those tabs. If you don't have it on the right one, it'll cut the wire off every time. So you got to make sure that, you know, your wire gauge and the width of your pin are somewhat relative. Usually it's just trial and error for me. I'll try this, I'll go down a size, up a size, whatever. But yeah, I've got probably 3 or 4 different, you know, they're all JST connectors, but they're just a little bit different type of pin. So it's kind of a crapshoot. Yes, I can, sir. This is going to be the hardest part on this with it so zoomed in, is getting small increments. Thank you for letting me know. There you are. Now, the silver is going to hide a little bit of imperfection on this benchy. I get that. But it actually does look pretty good. And we are hovering right around an hour right now. And that's a pretty fast benchy. I mean, not, you know, fast, but we usually run around 2 hours for a benchy. This will be done a lot sooner than that. Gary, I never got new calipers. Thanks for remembering that. But yeah, I never pulled the trigger on calipers. I got something else and said that I needed more. I don't remember what that was right now. Oh, I ended up buying Knipex pliers instead, because the channel locks and things that I had just were not doing the job. So I really needed a set of needle nose and channel locks. So I invested in the Knipex instead of getting another caliper, because my calipers were okay. They work, but they don't go to, like, you know, 10,000ths or whatever, like the ones I really wanted. But I have been using these a ton since I got them, so I'm very happy with my choice of investment. But no, I didn't get my super awesome calipers like I was going to. We want a 135mm benchy. You want to adjust back? Doot, doot, doot. This is kind of a... How about that?
To the caliper fund we go.
On this one, I don't think I do. Maybe well, that's kind of a handle to release it. I've got left and right small increments. We can do that. But not up and down. It's a really cheap tripod. Robot Hut is here. What's up? Absolutely, 80s style. I'm totally going to do videos with that style, by the way. Because, you know, 80s and all. That's going to be my super tricky camera effects coming up. Just lots of zooming. Nice, nice. I probably should have invested just a little bit more on the tripod. I was looking for something that was super short to use on the table. But I didn't want to go crazy. I think that one was like 30 or something. I don't know. It does some cool stuff, but it doesn't have the small increments. Like I say, you can do a little bit of fun things, but it's better than the webcam. So let's go with that. Jim Sellers, the Caliper Fund we go. Thank you very much, Jim, for the $2. I appreciate that. Maybe one day. Joel Driver, there is no need to have that. Thank you very much for that offer. I appreciate that. But I've got many sets of calipers. I put on Twitter, and then we were talking about it on a stream one day that I was looking at some higher end brands, and they were like 100 and I don't know, some of them were like 170 some odd dollars, and I was just getting some opinions of everybody. What is that company again? I want to say it's Mitsumo or something like that. I don't remember how you pronounce it. Uh, but everybody says yeah, they're awesome if you work for NASA, but I don't need that kind of accuracy. There's other things that I should be investing my money on to actually make my workflow better. I just wanted them, so I asked around, but I appreciate your offer. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Mitsutoyo. Michitoyo. Thank you, Gary. That's them. Those are the ones we were talking about. Yeah, I've got some. I don't even know what brand they are. These things work just fine. They're cheap. I mean, I don't know what they cost, but I got them off of Amazon or whatever. These are the ones I usually use. I do have a set of dials upstairs that are probably actually a little bit more accurate. But you know how digital ones go. They're just fast and they work. Um, they only do hundredths, but good enough for the stuff I do. Plus, you never know. I'm not the easiest person to get along with tools. I'm not the most careful guy in the whole world, as you've probably seen. They work fine. Someday I'll be a big, rich YouTube guy. I put that out there on Twitter, and Tom's like, "Oh yeah, they sent me a set of those. They work great." I'm like, "Man, I gotta get that hookup." If I could see how coffee, no deal, no deal, napping. Yeah, Ben, they work fine. They're decent. Eye gagging original cow. Okay. Repeatability while measuring. Yeah, I can totally see that. I have a set of Harbor Freight somewhere. I had some really cheap plastic ones somebody gave me that only went to a tenth. You accumulate, so absolutely. It piles up. Edgy the Tech is here. What's up? Shars are better. Okay. What's up, Carl? Oh, sorry, I missed that question. Reheat complete with Octoprint. Later, John. Yeah, Richard, like Ben's saying down here, I mean, if you're running any plugins, there could be something mysterious with that. It definitely sounds like there's some sort of serial confusion, though, which could be Octoprint, SD card, you know, direct link, something like that. It sounds like there's some serial confusion. Booting to safe mode. Even Octoprint has safe mode nowadays. The 135mm Vinci says 38 minutes to complete. They don't give me a lapse time. Maybe they will. Oh, wait. No, they give me Z. They don't give me a lapse time. Maybe they will at the end. Resource monitor plugin. You know, I see those little, you know, notices up in the corner every time I boot with all the new plugins that are out and stuff like that. But I haven't been out there to look around and see what all the cool stuff that people have made in a while. So I'm sure there's all kinds of awesome stuff that I could test and try and good things. Just need to go out there and do it. I'll say there were some more belt pieces running around here somewhere. Maybe not. There's just so much cleanup that needs to be done. Is it done? It's done! Oh, now it's moving it back. It almost put it back in frame, though. It's got a home. It pushes it out and then homes Y again. Interesting. So, did it turn the heaters off and all that good stuff? Yes, we can confirm that it did complete. So there's that. Zooming in on it would probably be just about as good as me trying to hold it for you, I think. I know it's still hot, but it's going to come off there pretty easy. No Vinci for you. And done. Any good wind mounts for the Anycubic Delta? No, I have not seen any good wind mounts for that one. Now, again, the silver filament does hide just a little bit of the not so nice. But man, it looks good. Okay, I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do benchy time on this camera, but let's just give it a go. Very fast. Hour and 8 minutes is what we got on this guy. Focus. There we go. So this is what we got. So you do have a bit of that bow line. Somebody was saying that there was a mist layer. You can see some infill in there. I have Curie do that quite often. Throw another shell on there and you should be good. Somebody said there was some mist extrusion. That's that line down there that you can see. It's just a little bit of inconsistency. There wasn't actually a shift. There are a few inconsistent layers. But, wow. There's a little bit of noise there in the usual location. There's a few, you can see a few spots where it did the layer change, you know, your usual stuff down in here. But I'm guessing because of that, there's probably a lot less blobs in the back. Remember, there is a ton of part cooling on this guy. My first layer, you can almost read that out. My first layer was just a little bit high. I would like to see just a bit more squish on that. I don't know, man. I know it would slow things down, but Z-Hop would probably improve just a few things there. That is a really nice print. That's a really nice benchy, folks, I gotta say. Yeah. For no calibration, nothing right out of the box. Impressed. Impressed. All right. You want to, okay, so here's what we're going to do. I've had way worse. Way worse than that. Here's what we're going to do. I don't know how this is going to go. But let's save the 135 benchy to the card. I am going to give these wheels. Now, I really don't know how this is going to go down. But I'm going to give these wheels just a tick in the up direction. Because who knows what the first layer print speed is actually going to be here, right? This thing might fly right out of the room. And then it'll be a flying shark with lasers. Yes, I'm going to give these just a bit of an uptick to give me a little extra squish. And let's see what happens. All right. It says, oh, it doesn't have an estimate for me yet. Let's just see how fast it's going to go. Anton, what's up? Waterline, absolutely. Good filament also, that always helps. Nice, consistent filament. Sharknado. Does not compute. Eccentric Nut is here, what's up? Kira does the bed heating first. Which you could change that up if you would like. I can put my benchy Pez dispenser in the background for your amusement. Dun 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 dun. I want to see it like get like turned up on one end. Is it a fixed bed? A flex bed? Yes, flex bed. It does have a steel sheet, and it's a pretty thick steel sheet, by the way. A lot thicker than some of them that I see. I think we're gonna need a bigger boat. Thanks for joining, Oscar, by the way. Just checking the stream quality. Doing pretty good today. We had one section of Fallout there. Hopefully that will be better when people rewatch it. Okay, so let's just see how this goes, shall we? So, at least the first layer is somewhat nominal. That's good to see. We're going to let it get stuck before things go bad wrong. Here, I'll narrate it for you. We do have some whispers in our front fan there. When you see the front fan kick on, then things are going to start getting interesting. You can feel that it is quite a bit more aggressive. I don't have a lot of thoughts about the Voron yet. I am going to be building one. I don't know if yeah, there we go. I know that I'm going to build a Zero. I don't know if I'm going to build any of the other ones yet, but we'll see how the Zero goes first. Okay, so I hear the extruder skipping. It doesn't mean that it won't continue, but it is having a hard time forcing out that much plastic. Six rail heaver works. I still gotta check that out. So I don't know if so again, we have dual filament gears here. I don't know if we could maybe increase the current a bit and brute force our way through this at some point. But it's definitely having a hard time keeping up with that speed. We could increase the temp a bit, but this is the 135 degree profile. It's supposed to be 135 degrees. Or 135 millimeter profile. 135 degrees wouldn't work very well. See, you can see the infill is just a little bit sparse. We can tick it up a notch. I'm not against that. Oh, went one of that. Especially with 3 fans. Let's see what that does for us. Autofocus is probably having a really hard time with this. You can see the infill doesn't look so good while it's skipping. 135 millimeters a second is what it says. We need more power. So it definitely has helped. We're setting at 220 right now. It is still skipping, but it has definitely helped. The skipping has slowed down some. So you want to go to 2.25, just for fun. We're still getting just a few skips. It's doing better, but we're getting a few skips. You can hear the audio input grabs them. Every skip, it grabs it. You can see it pop up. Techno Rat, that's how it works, man. You get one, you gotta have 5. Get 5, you gotta have 50. 230! More power! It's not like this is for all the marbles or anything, right? Alright, there's 230. Against my better judgment. I'm getting motion sick now. Let's switch back to this so it's not so chaotic. It has helped, though. I mean, I had no doubt that the temperature increase would help, but that's a lesson, kids. If you have these profiles that say 135 millimeters a second, know what you're getting into. Now, in all fairness, what does Cura see? So Cura has material settings baked in to that same setting. So if you have one that says 135, you probably ought to adjust the temperature as well. Just saying, if you're the one that made the profile. More speed. It can almost keep up. I'm impressed that it can keep up as well as it has. That would be an awesome animation to have, like when you're going at a certain speed, if the fin came on and was cutting through the water. How cool would that be? Hopefully the good people, the infill has straightened up, by the way. It looks much, much better. You can kind of see it as it's flying through there. Hopefully the good people at Lotmax have enjoyed this stream and seen what the single color printer can do live. Well, let's just I did not find out what board this printer has. I did not see any information. I didn't look at it really closely. I did not see any information on their site about it. I will take one more look for you. I'm going to start my own Indiegogo campaign. I just have to find something to do. I don't think Marlin configurations are something I can do on Indiegogo. All it says All it says is 32-bit ARM processor, and the processor has a Lotmax on it. So that's all I can find. So, let's go over this one more time. Recap, yes. This is the Lotmax SC-10 Shark. It is an Ender 3-like printer, but it has options available, and a few more options than an Ender does. It has options available where you can do 2 colors via a V Hotend, and you can also do laser engraving, and they have a bracket and a plug available on the front of the machine where you can add a 3D touch bed leveling sensor. It does have dual filament drive gears, and it has filament runout. It also has this removable curly cord touchscreen that you can use. It is a 32-bit board. It has TMC 2208 silent stepper drivers, and it is very quiet. Has a removable steel sheet with a sticker build-like substance on it. It also has 3-part cooling fans and a hot end fan, which I find fantastic. It is very compact, looks good. The machine looks good. Again, I'm not being paid for any of this, by the way. They just sent the printer for me to work with. I don't get anything out of this except just hanging out with you all and watching this printer work. But anyway, the important thing to remember about this machine is it is not for sale, per se. It is a crowdsourced campaign on Indiegogo. So, the base one color is around $270, I believe. These are ballpark prices. $270. You add $20 for the leveling sensor, you add $40 for the extra color, and then if you want all of it, including the laser engraver, it's somewhere around $370, $380. Again, it's a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo. Just because you back it doesn't mean you're going to get anything. That's how it works. So, something bad could happen and nobody gets a printer. But I can tell you this, there are quite a few of these in the wild, going to YouTubers and other people that are testing them. So there are machines somewhere. There are things being built. And for what I've seen today, it's a pretty finished product. It's not like they slap something together just to give to me and a few other people. So what I've seen right here, we probably have a good chance of this thing going. Everything's in flight and they're going to get you your printer. But that doesn't mean they have to. You're giving them a donation at this point. So with all that said, this printer right here that they gave me is a pretty nice printer. It is definitely competition for Ender 3 V2. Now, I don't know anything about the dual color. It is a V Hotend. Those are sometimes sketchy, but theirs might be great. Don't know. And laser engraving, that's kind of up to you. It's a 1.6 watt laser. You can do a few things with that type of laser. Cut wood. I'm not sure about plastics and stuff, but you can give it a shot. So there's everything that I know about this machine. I would rubber stamp it and say, hey, I like the dual drive gears. I like the touchscreen that's removable. I like the removable steel sheet. I like the filament runout sensor. And it appears to be flying through this filament at this point. So that's awesome. And it turned out a really nice first print. So I'd stamp it as, say, yeah, it's worth $280. I think it is, to me. But again, this is our second print ever. I don't have a lot of testing time. But hopefully I will be able to give you a better idea of what you're dealing with full boat in the next couple of weeks. So there you go. That's what I know. I'm guessing it is in Nerdgirls 3D. I'm guessing it is in Stealth Shot because it is super quiet and they are 2208s. So yes. We need some shark fins for the side. Absolutely. Maybe just one big one on top here. Where is the printer made? Scott, it is made somewhere that I can't pronounce, I am sure. No.
Build a Voron, please. Tears of joy.
It is built in Shenzhen. So probably not too far from the other manufacturers. So it is from Shenzhen. Michael, thank you very much for the $10. I appreciate that highly. I will build a Voron. You bet I will. It is my next build. I've been doing a lot of builds, but in the next couple of weeks, I'll be out of things to build, and we will look at one. I promise you. Rolling the dice, absolutely. Done and shipping as of today. Well, that's good. They do have estimated ship times of October 2020. Just saying. But no matter what you're picking, if they are shipping, whatever they're doing, I want you to be totally aware that you're buying these on an Indiegogo campaign. That's my biggest thing. Benchy Overload, what is up, Tom? How's the Railcore? Railcore's doing good. I switched the part fan over to that other design. I'm having some problems with it. It's actually not, the fan is not performing like it did on the other shroud. I don't know why. I think I might reprint it, or it's kind of, maybe there's some, I don't know, maybe I did something wrong. But it seems to be at the right height. The fan seems to be turning it, as fast as it can go. It doesn't seem to be cooling correctly, or like I think it should. So I need to check that out. But other than that, it's doing very well. Saving Booth got no modification today. I don't know. It looks like it's up to par to me, Scott, with other offerings out there. So from what I've seen, not a bad 3D printer. Can V2 print this fast? I don't know, but now I have to try. So we will see. Now, see, I did not know that it was on Kickstarter. The company sent me a link to give to you to say, hey, this is it. This is the printer. Make sure they're going to this campaign, and that's the one that's on the in the description of this video. So it's not affiliated or anything like that. It's just a shortened link to this campaign. But I did not know that they were on Kickstarter as well. Speed. We're doing a speed run. Kickstarter is over and shipping now. Okay. Tom Llama, that would be awesome if we could visualize that somehow. I use like a little pan of water, but that really doesn't give you a super clear idea. We need to build some sort of chamber. It's on Indiegogo after it finishes on Kickstarter. Okay. Thank you, Marco. How old am I? Too old. Well, Turner, I hope it happens just like this one did, You get I hope you get the same box that I did. All of you that back this, because if you do, you won't have any complaints. This thing is just fine, and it's running like a champ. Please let me know how it turns out. Steven, I can certainly do that. I noticed that my V2 does need some updates. Like, it doesn't report Z. I think Chuck already went over all this. Like, he did a video on it. I think he even worked with Scott on it. But it doesn't report Z height. And I'm sure it's the original firmware version, so I haven't tried to update it. And it doesn't accept long file names. So, there's some updates for it out there, so I can do that. We can include that in one of the videos, absolutely. You have to rewatch the whole stream. We're 23 minutes in, and it said that it could knock it out in 38 minutes. $350 cubed, huh? That's a pretty massive machine in the scope of things. Sorva. What would you say the maximum length of a Bowden tube should be? I've seen some really, really long ones. It kind of all depends. I'm sorry to say that. There are a lot of people in certain scenarios say that it doesn't matter. It can be as long as it wants. I don't like to use them, you know. I don't know, 400 is kind of scary to me, but that's not really long for some printers. I mean, I use them on some machines that are 800, and they work okay, but sometimes it's a necessary evil. You can make it work if you're diligent enough. When you dry filament in a dryer, how much is good? Well, it depends on the filament, of course. Nylon, you could leave it in there for like 12 hours, and you probably have just a little bit more moisture in it. I would not over dry them, especially if you think that you need to dry PLA. I wouldn't, 4 hours is probably good. That's all the benefit you're going to get out of it anyway. If you go further than that, you might run the risk of deforming it a bit or even making it brittle. So I would worry about PLA. PETG is pretty durable, 8 hours or so. But again, you don't want to get overzealous with it, because as it starts to get close, I mean, the more you dry, it's going to bake towards the center, depending on how much you have on that spool, right? Once you have this mass of filament up to temp, things in the spool that it's riding on, things might get a little bit interesting. So I would not leave it in there so long. It's not level. Absolutely. The bigger you go, the more yelling about leveling you do. Four screws and bam, a benchy. Yeah, 600 is it's a challenge. 600 is a challenge. Plus, when you have a lot of Odin tube, you can't use some of the fancy features so well, like linear advance, which is kind of funny because that's where it would really benefit you. But does PLA need drying? It can collect some moisture. I mean, for the most part, no, but it kind of depends your conditions. Most of the moisture that you're going to see it collect, you're going to see it on the ends. It doesn't really tend to affect the rest of the spool. Because of how rigid PLA is, the most that I see that you actually get impacted by is how curly the filament is. And I know that sounds silly, but if you get down to like the last quarter of the filament on a regular spool like any of these, when you get in a really tight radius, that tight radius tends to impact how the filament is being fed through the feeder. And I guess I don't have any scientific evidence or inside hot end shots camera video to show you, but my guess is what is happening is no matter what feeder you're going through, like a set of Bontex gears, you're going to smash it some, but once you've started it feeding in with a radius on it that tight, it's going to have a curve to it. When you started feeding it, even after you come through the gears and you've made it into the hot end, it's still going to have a tendency to have somewhat of a radius on it. Even if you're fully encapsulated, because you're going to have some tolerance in whatever tube, hot end, whatever, to be able to feed it. So if you do retractions at all, that's not going to be able to tolerate or compensate that curve, that added curve of the filament very well. It's not a huge impact depending on the extruder you have. Let's just say you have a Bondtech BMG that's direct drive. It's not a huge impact, but you will see it. And I think a lot of people see that on PLA especially and think, oh, I need to dry the filament. I think it's more about the shape that the filament is when it's being fed. Personally, that's my experience. Now, you all probably have different experiences, but in my experience, that's what I've run into. Did improve the fence, very noisy, yes. That's going to be a lot of ramping with that much tube. Was 1100 direct drive now. Generally over 300 millimeter. All right. The estimated time was 38 minutes. Yes, 38 minutes. We are at 30 minutes right now. Try shortening the tube. Does this printer have a mean-mile power supply? That's a good question. I do not know. I don't know. I don't know if they say that on here. It does have print resume, so power off resume. It's 290 watt. But that's all I see. So we will have to open it up and find out eventually. Let's take it apart. You guys always want me to take it apart. 350, that would be good. That's a pretty common size. 334 is pretty common. That's true. It's kind of gray, almost purpley in color. Is kind of a nice change. It does almost have kind of a lavender sheen to it, which is kind of cool. The one on the Ender 3 V2 is not allowed to be used in the EU? What? That's no good. You want to print some speaker boxes? Those are really cool. I have seen those. Tom wants me to send it to him. You need to ramp up the YouTube creation, Tom. I'm sure people would send you all kinds of printers. They're also Lotmax is planning on a bigger build volume. That's awesome. Thanks for that info, Chris. What is the life of a filament spool? PLA, usually I will give up. So PLA becomes kind of, I don't know, depending on how good it was before. So let me preface, before I make these statements, let me preface that with something. Filament that I have that's probably over 3 years old was not good filament probably then. So now it's really not that great. Some of the stuff you see now, filamentum, prusament stuff, it probably ages much, much better. But the stuff that I have that is really old, the PLA stuff, you can pull off a couple of wraps and usually start using it again. It's fine, but it's a bit unpredictable. So if you don't have a filament sensor or something like that, I would if I was going for a project and I didn't have a whole lot of it left, I'd probably just send it to recycle or whatever rather than trying to reuse it. That's PLA. Because I've had a lot of times on the older spools, you try to use it, then it snaps, and then your print's ruined if you don't have a sensor or something like that. It's just more headache than it's worth. The more you have on the spool, though, that does tend to lead to being more resilient over time. Now, ABS will last forever. Some of the original spools of ABS that I had 4+ years ago, they're fine. They print just as good as ABS has ever printed. Now, I really can't speak to PETG or nylon. Nylon is kind of infinite, what I've found. You can, really old nylon, you can bring it back if you dry it out enough. It will turn back into some decent filament. PETG, I really can't speak to that. I'm guessing you're probably okay. Like there isn't a shelf time limit on it, but I don't know for sure. So that's really all I know about longevity. You like fixing things that aren't broken? Absolutely. Awesome, Tim. Tim is thanking all of us because on a stream last week, we helped troubleshoot his issues that he was having with his bed, and it looks like it is fixed. So welcome back, Tim, and I'm glad that others could help you out. How are we doing? What's it look like? I was looking at the website and not the camera. The retractions, I would, just by listening to it, would say the retractions are a little slow. I think we should speed up the retractions a bit in our slicer. We're at 36 minutes. We're not going to make our Cura estimated 38-minute benchy time. But we're going to do pretty well. From the blurb, alrighty. Ben, I thought you, for a second there, I was reading that, I thought you signed up to be a Lotmax salesman for a moment. I really don't. I mean, I really, as is for the price point, they make it easy for you to update, but to add things here in front. I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm all right with it. It sure was easy to set up. You saw how much time it took. I do like the idea of the dual drive gears. Seems all right to me. Ender 5 Plus. I know there's a lot of Ender 5 fans out there. Yeah, there's really no stringing on this. This filament's been open for a couple of months now too, by the way. And it's been really humid down here. V2 or Ender 5 Plus. I know there's a lot of Ender 5 fans out there. I am not one of them. I don't remember who. I think it was Chuck. We had a bit of a back and forth on one of these streams. Like the Bowden tube was too long in that setup, or whatever, because of the design. I don't know much about the Plus. I do have a regular Ender 5. Because of the Ender 5 and the Ender 3 are close to the same build volume, and the Ender 3 is much cheaper, I would still rather have an Ender 3. I couldn't tell you why I don't care for it, honestly. I think it has something to do with the cube design that they made. They could have gone a lot further with that, and made it a non-Cartesian machine and done a few more things for that price point, instead of just making an Ender 3 like printer in a cube design. I don't know. I guess there's bonuses to it, but given the print quality that I've seen and just the ease of use of the Ender 5, I would still just go get an Ender 3. I don't really think there's that much benefit. Now the Ender 5 Pro, I believe it is quite a bit bigger. So if that is the case, then there'd be more benefit there. But just the regular Ender 5, I'm not a huge fan. A Rolex from China. Totally worth it. It's an LSR 350 224. All right. Clipper, and how would you rate it compared to Marlin? My personal experience with Clipper, I'm the wrong guy to ask, for starters. I'm a Marlin guy through and through. I love Marlin. I know it better, so I'm kind of stuck in my ways. Clipper is really cool on how it works, because you can offload some of that processing, and it is getting better and better. They're making updates to it. I haven't used it in over a year, so there's been a lot of updates since the last time I used it. It's not too, after you get the gist of it, it's not too terrible hard to get it configured and make updates, and that's one of the pluses too, making the updates, because a lot of it is offloaded and you don't have to touch it. How does it compare with Marlin? There's a lot more features in Marlin, as far as I know. Again, it's been a while. They're still actively developing it. There's a lot more features in Marlin. But I will tell you this. Marlin, if it doesn't already, will soon have that type of offloading feature like Clipper does. There has been someone working on a project to do kind of the same thing. So that's coming. So that might sway some Clipper users. Don't know. But I stick with Marlin again because it's what I know. It's the more printers I have on consistent firmware, the easier it is for me to troubleshoot issues. So I don't do a lot of clipper. Ender 6 is something I don't know anything about. Somebody was saying the other day that is an actual Core XY. I don't know anything about Ender 6. I had to spend so there, Sean Morrissey, that is a great quote, my friend. I had to spend a lot of money to make my E5 print as well as my Ender 3. So I think we've had the same experience. Benchy is looking good. We will do side-by-side on this. It's called direct stepping. So Scott, I knew it was coming up. I didn't know what version and how soon it was. How soon it was coming out. Thank you for confirming that. I appreciate it. It is so handy to have Scott listening to the streams in the background. It's called direct stepping. So if you would like to check that out, it is available. I do intend on doing a video on it. I did not know it was out yet, but it is in the queue. Yeah, so that's another discussion altogether, Marco, that it is not open source. We don't like to see that. I mean, as a community, as the 3D printing community, we don't like to see things that aren't open source. Especially when they're using Curo, you know, an open source project with their machine. But it happens. If they're doing it the right way, let's use terms loosely here. If they're doing it the right way, and they are supporting all their products, and support is good, and their firmware is not infringing on anything, and they put out updates, and it works, I'm going to say support again, then it's fine. You know, they can do what they want to do. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make some money. In this configuration, kind of the, you know, the rip-rappy type of thing, you know, i3 that we all see, it would be nice if it was included in our open source world, but that doesn't always happen. So, yes, I agree with you. It kind of sucks that it's not. But if it's something that you want to buy and start printing with and have a pretty nice set of slicer profiles, as we've seen already, you just want to print, not hack and tweak on it, it seems to be a pretty stable platform. Boo, would I ever buy a Lulzbot over a Prusa? No. I have a Lulzbot, an old one from like 2015. But today, I would not. I would buy multiple Prusas instead of a Lulzbot. Trying to wait for the Prusa Core XY. I hope that we find something out before the end of the year. I kind of doubt it. It's been a rough year, old 2020. Tom, I totally agree with you. I mean, there's a lot of fiddling around that you have to do to, well, not a lot, but some fiddling around you have to do to get that external processing up and going. 32-bit boards have more than enough room. So, you know, I would rather just, nowadays, sound like I'm old. Nowadays, you can get 32-bit boards for, you know, less than $30. So why mess with it, right? They released the source to the SC-10 non-Shark version. I'm pretty sure it can be used as standard Marlin. Okay. So there's your quote there about Lulzbot from Bill Steele down at the bottom. If Bill says it, it's true. So nice. You got a mini. You loved it so much you got a 3. That's awesome to hear. The mini is a good little machine. What is my dream machine? I want one of those ones that has like the extruder that does 4mm. You know, it's like the size of a room. I want to like make all the furniture for my house. Sam, if you back it as a single extruder, single color, it is 270, 280, somewhere in there. Don't remember exactly. If you go all the way, get dual color, bed leveling, and the laser, the 1.6 watt laser, it's around 380, 370, 380. I would love to see those machines, Bill. The Marlin Config website. I have seen there's a couple of people that have that I've seen a couple of versions of that type of site. I've never honestly gone to use it because I'm still using Notepad++, but I know that there is some stuff like that out there. I don't know what the Mega Zero is. I honestly don't see a lot of value in used 3D printers, but that's just me. I I don't know. I mean, I guess if I needed a 3D printer, I would look used. But I honestly, I can't tell you. I really don't have a answer for that. There it is. So what did we do? 49 minutes. So we overshot by 11. I do kind of like this dance we're doing back and forth. Thanks for the heads up on Notepad. I use it all the time, man. I've been using Notepad++ for so many years for everything. All right. For a 49-minute Vinci, remember, when you're giving Lotmax your money, remember to tell them that old Chris did a 49-minute Vinci on this guy live. Let me just take a look real quick. So we definitely have a little bit of artifacting, and you can tell that we bumped the temp up, but that was going to be necessary. Yeah. But other than that, geez, the bridge is a little droopy. You can tell where it changed layers a lot easier. Retraction wasn't as efficient. But check it out. This thing was knocked out in 49 minutes. So that one, we lost a little right there. We didn't get that one. You can see the different layer changes are a little sloppy down in there with those spots. I mean, if I was printing a part that I was going to use, who cares, right? You can definitely see the color change a bit from where we jumped the temperature trying to save it, and you can see the differences up in here as we get into some of the thinner walls. But again, saving that much time, I really don't care. tops are a little hot. I'm pretty impressed, man. So just as a comparison, hour and 8 minutes, 49 minutes. I show that porthole because you can kind of see the ghosting around it. But you really shaved a lot of time off that. I don't know. I'm pretty impressed. Ruben, thank you for the sub. Gus, thank you for the sub. Appreciate that. And Mike and Bruce. There you go. Hey, same old Shane is here. What's up? I talked to Shane this morning. Pew pew lasers. Mark John, yes, that's where all of my printers go. Schools around here. Not all of them, but a lot of them. I'm impressed. So there you go. This has been the Lotmax Shark. Some of these folks over here tell me that it is on Indiegogo and on, what's the other one? Kickstarter. So on Kickstarter, they say they're shipping already. So that's a great sign. And the fact that I have this printer is a great sign. But it's on. There is also an Indiegogo campaign going on as well. There is links to that in the description. From what I have seen here today, this thing knocks out a nice print. It does it fast. I like the dual drive gears. Got a whole lot of part cooling. I like the touchscreen. And you know, I wouldn't tell you this. I mean, they are not paying me. Again, no money has exchanged hands. All of this is just for this free printer. Like I need another one. I like the filament sensor. I wouldn't tell you if it was any good if it wasn't. I like the removable steel sheet. Again, that's a nice thick sheet. I like that. Pulls the heat. And I like the look of it. Somebody said it earlier, but it's not the same old black extrusion. It stands out a little bit. And they already have some firmware updates that we did apply at the beginning of this, which is awesome. So I dig it. I dig it. But we will see more on this machine. That is all for today. Now open it up. I'm not going to open it up for this one. But we will open it up eventually, I promise. So there we go. That's all for today. That has been the Lotmax SC-10 Shark. It is Shark Week, one more day. Go check out all your Shark Week videos. We have more live streams to come, everyone. And weekly videos will start rolling very, very soon, so check those out. Thank you for everyone that subscribed. Thanks for everyone that hung out with me all day. Thanks for all of the super chat tips. That really does help us out, and we appreciate it. There is a Wii now at Chris's basement. We will be unveiling that at some point. So things are expanding. But thank you, everyone. I will see you again on another live stream very, very soon. Everyone have a good rest of your weekend.